It's been a shocking Saturday morning. The Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi, has been accused of sexual harassment by one of the former staffers of the Supreme Court. Not just that, the allegations also include intimidation and victimization, and also harassment of her family members in an attempt to silence her. We are going straight to our legal editor, Vakasha Sachdev. Vakasha, what are the allegations against Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi?
So we have a copy of the affidavit here. Now we've obviously got to be a bit careful here because we can't afford to show the name of the complainant. But basically, she was a junior court assistant in the Supreme Court library, who eventually was assisting CJ Gogoi's court before he was Chief Justice, and then afterwards as well. Now, while she was still so around in August 2018, so this is a couple of months before Gogoi became the Chief Justice of India, she was asked to come and join his residence office and be part of that there and assist him out there at this point. Now, this is of course something which was a problem because because she in fact has pointed out that she was often given tasks to do which weren't really in her competence, which didn't seem possible for her to actually do. Because she wasn't a fully trained lawyer. She was trying to sort of get the degree, but didn't have it. Was still being asked to do case summaries and things. So all of these, there was a whole series of things which had started to be a bit strange to her, including the fact that he would ask her to do this. He asked her to text her every morning, and he asked her to wish him a good morning every time, as well as tell him when she got back to work. He also told her that she needs to be available at various points of time for calls from him, and he said that these have to be kept secret because they have to be kept confidential because this was something to be done between them. So now all of these things had started to be a little bit strange for her. So there's full details of everything. She's given a lot of detail in an affidavit filed with the judges of the Supreme Court. So to sort of just come back to that, now what's happened in this case is that the complainant here has filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court with the other judges of the Supreme Court, pointing out all of these issues to them, that she's been harassed sexually, and that there's also been the continued harassment and intimidation of her afterwards. Now, so let's go to the exact allegations which have been made of sexual harassment themselves. So as you can see, there's a number of points which she raises about what happened. She points out that she was brought in as one of the few people who attended his oath-taking ceremony as Chief Justice, and even her husband was invited to this. Now, it was around this time, it seems, Justice C.J. Gogoi kept telling her that look, now that I'm a powerful person, I've got this responsibility. If you need any assistance, you need any help, you can reach out to me. And this was when now C.J. Gogoi becomes Chief Justice of India on the 3rd of October 2018. Around this point, we have a situation where she mentions that her brother-in-law is disabled. He's unable to he's unable to get some sort of employment, and Justice C.J. Gogoi says, I'm allowed to bring in certain people on a discretionary quota to join sort of the Supreme Court and the court registry and basis, and so he brings in her brother. And so we come to 10th October 2018, and here's where it starts. So he says, the CJ called me into his office room and told me that my brother-in-law, who suffered from 60% disability, had been appointed. And, this had been done despite the fact that he was found medically unfit. She says, I'm very grateful. Now, the first sort of thing which comes up here is that he makes a comment about her clothing, because she's wearing colored clothing rather than the normal black and white which she normally would. And then he says, and then he gets up and comes and tells her to come and stand next to him, and then he says, what can you do for me? Now, this is what he's reported, he's alleged to have said to her. She says that, I was grateful, everyone in your family was happy. She's not saying anything at this point, and then the CJI then, allegedly, according to her, she says that he then slid his hand from the back of her head to her lower back. And but when she stiffened and then seemed to obviously show that she was not comfortable with this, he then pulled away, pinched her cheeks and told her, this is what I do with my daughter also, and then seemed to sort of brush it under the carpet. Now, but the thing is, he then again asks her what would she do for him, and then because she's not saying anything, he tells her to write it down and show it to him. At the end of this, on the 10th of October, he just gives her the rest of her regular work to do and tells her to leave at this point from his chambers. Now she was surprised and she was very shocked and didn't know what to do. But she thought maybe, you know what, it's she's maybe misinterpreted it, or that, you know, because he's a big person, this is something which doesn't have to. But the problem is, the next day she says that he again called her to his office, so this is at his residence, and instructed her to sit in the chair across from him, and again brought up the fact that he had helped arrange for her brother-in-law's appointment. And then he makes a comment on her looks, supposedly, where he allegedly tells her that if you put on some weight, you will look good. And then offers her some sort of sweets, and then tells her, but you know what, you are the one who should be giving me sweets since your brother. So it's basically like, allegedly, like a continuous reference to how he's assisted her brother-in-law to make her feel, obviously, that she has to do something in return. And then at this point, she's written down some sort of generic thing on how she's grateful and thankful. And then the CGI, it seems, gets up from his chair, comes and stands next to her, and he is then reported, according to her, to have again pinched her cheeks. And then this is where it gets really serious, where he says that he puts his arms around her waist from the front and reportedly says, "I want this from you." So as you can see, these are the details which are there in the affidavit here. He is then supposed to have hugged her, touched her all over her body, and he is then and even though she's frozen, he's continued to do it, and he did not stop forcibly hugging her, according to her. She then tried to push away, and then she goes, and then she sort of, and he then gets hit against a shelf on the cabinet when she pushes away. So that's the sort of allegations of sexual harassment that have happened, that have been made by her in this thing at this point.
So allegations काफ़ी सीरियस हैं, और जब चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया की बात करें तो ये एक बहुत ही बड़ी खबर बन जाती है, पर एलिगेशंस यहीं आकर नहीं रुकते हैं. एलिगेशंस इंटिमिडेशन के बारे में भी हैं, फैमिली की हरासमेंट के बारे में भी हैं. उस बारे में इन महिला का क्या कहना है?
तो इसमें एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि ये जब इंसिडेंट हुआ है, इस पॉइंट पे उन्होंने थोड़ा बहुत सीजीआई से कुछ बोला है, और उनको कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम है इसमें. फिर 11 अक्टूबर को जब ये सेकंड इंसिडेंट जो हुआ था, उसके बाद व्हेन शी गोज आउट ऑफ द CGI's chambers, it seems it was clear that she was upset, and so she starts receiving messages from people from the court and the registry who are asking her, has something happened between you and her husband? And she suddenly starts to realize, who are these people? Have never texted me before. Why are they texting me? And then she starts realizing that, you know, this is obviously perhaps something which the CGI's instead made a different story. And part of this was also important because he told her specifically, you know, after she left the room, when the incident happened on the 11th, he brought her back afterwards and told her, you will not share this with anybody. He's then supposed to have made her write something down on a piece of paper where she's sort of saying that, you know, what happened was there was no harm here done, and that in fact she was trying to hold him. And then this seems to have been later part of the thing, because she's then reported to have gone, and so when she now says that afterwards she's been getting these calls, she starts to get worried about what this is, and she's very uncomfortable. And then after a few days, she gets transferred from here to a different division in the Supreme Court sort of administrative service, and while she's there, again she's called, and she's not sure what's going on, and she then gets transferred a second time within that period itself. In between, the Chief Justice seems asks her if she'd like to come back and work for him, and she says no. And now this is where it gets problematic, because so this has all happened in October. In November, she gets a disciplinary notice from the administrative group which she's part of, saying that, you know, look, you're making issues over your transfer, you're not coming to work on time. So she basically had asked for some casual leave on a Saturday when there was a half day, wasn't able to come in afterwards as well. And she's got like a whole set of notices on things, and why have you done all of this? And the note from the administrative service, so we can't actually show that because it mentions her by name, also mentions that she also mentions that, you know, she's trying to reach out to Supreme Court people, because at some point she also tried to make a call to the Chief Justice because she was uncomfortable with what had happened and wanted to talk to him, and was unable to do so. So she's got this sort of disciplinary show cause notice saying, why have you done all of these things? And she's told to appear on the 17th of December, 17th of November, sorry it is, and she's supposed to give a statement there. But when she actually goes to give the statement, So if we open this up, so as you can see, so there's all the details of the fact that she's got transferred a second time. She gets multiple memoranda saying what what are you doing, and now, so we can't show anything more for this, but yeah, she's supposed to have committed all of these things, and she then on 17th December is supposed to appear in disciplinary proceedings. When she appears, she says she reaches the place where it's supposed to happen, where she's supposed to give her defense and provide her statement, and she faints and is taken to hospital. As a result, she's not able to obviously present her statement to the disciplinary committee, and yet the next day they dismiss her. So they've dismissed her and said you can still file an additional defense statement, but like you're dismissed. She sends in a statement in writing saying that look, I was unwell, and she's still been dismissed at this point. So not only do you have a situation that by 20th December she's been dismissed from service. Now afterwards, this is where it becomes really problematic, because it's not just her. According to her, after what happens with that, she's then continually facing sort of harassment. People in her colony are being told, and then also her husband and brother-in-law, who are head constables in the Delhi police, are suspended on 28th December. Now this is supposed to relate to some dispute from back in 2012, which however has been mutually resolved and it's over. Even some other complaint which had been filed against her husband had been compounded. So there are no open active cases against them, and yet both her husband and her brother-in-law both get dismissed from service. After that, even the other brother-in-law, the one who had been appointed to the Supreme Court on the discretionary quota by the Chief Justice, even he is dismissed, and it just says unsatisfactory service, though there's no proof or anything given of that. So that's where the thing was at the turn of the year. Now the woman was no longer employed. She had not yet decided to file a complaint of any sort. But what happened was that in March 2019, a new case was lodged against her. And now she says that in between there were moments when the Chief Justice was trying to, it seems, get in touch with her, and she didn't pick up, and when people from his office tried. She had also tried to reach out on the other hand to staff there at the Chief Justice's office to ask him to please help her out. Why is this happening? Why are we all being sacked and all of that? And then, but now there's a new FIR filed in March, and alleging all sorts of fraud and things, which is filed, and that's when she decides she needs to now maybe file this case, because this harassment has gone on. She's picked up, she and her sister-in-law both picked up and harassed by the police, she says, and as a result, and in fact she's able to get bail, but now the police are asking for cancellation of bail, and a hearing on that is coming up on Wednesday. So that's where we are at this point. So that's the sort of a summary of all the allegations and everything, and it's a lot to take in, as you can, and it's a very, very complicated story here, because we've got a situation where not only has she been dismissed, but even her husband and her brother-in-law have been dismissed, another brother-in-law also dismissed. So all of them have been suffering after what's happened here. Now, of course, the CGI is going to claim that it's that's their own fault and that's because of misconduct. But that's obviously where we come to the next stage, which is what happened today in court.
So, as you said, it's a lot to take in. बट उसको दूसरे नज़रिए से देखा जाए तो जो डिटेल्स एफिडेविट में दिए गए हैं, बहुत ही आर्टिकुलेटेड, बहुत ही डिटेल्ड एक एफिडेविट 22 सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस को दिया गया है, जिसमें कई तरह के इल्ज़ाम हैं, सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट से लेकर फैमिली इंटिमिडेशन तक. उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स जो थे, एक पुलिस फोर्स में थे, एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट में थे, उन्हें भी डिसिप्लिनरी ग्राउंड्स पर डिसमिस कर दिया गया है. तब तक भी वो चुप रही, पर उसके बाद मार्च में, इसी साल मार्च में, पिछले महीने, जब उन पर एक केस फाइल किया गया कि एक व्यक्ति ने उन पर केस फाइल किया गया जो वो महिला कहती हैं उन्हें जानती भी नहीं है. उन व्यक्ति ने उन पर केस फाइल किया कि आपने मुझसे 50,000 रुपये लिए थे ये कहकर कि आप मुझे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में नौकरी दिलवाएंगी, लेकिन ऐसा हुआ नहीं, और ये वादा आपने 2017 में किया था, और 2017 में आपने 50,000 रुपये मुझसे लिए थे. तो 2 साल बाद ये एफआईआर फाइल करने की ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ गई, इस बात पर भी सवाल उठाए जा रहे हैं. अगर एफिडेविट पढ़ा जाए, बहुत लंबा एफिडेविट है, 22 सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजेस को ये एफिडेविट भेजा गया है. चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया पर सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट के एलिगेशंस, इल्ज़ामात लगाए गए हैं, पर चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया का इस पर क्या रिस्पांस है, रंजन गोगोई का इस पर क्या रिस्पांस है, वो अपना बचाव इस इल्ज़ाम से कैसे करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, ये सवाल हम ले जाते हैं वकाशा के पास. वकाशा, द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया हैज़ कम आउट विद एन एक्सप्लेनेशन सॉर्ट्स ऑफ एंड मेड मैनी स्टेटमेंट सेइंग ये जुडिशरी के खिलाफ कदम है और ऐसी बहुत सारी बातें कही गई हैं. चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया का इस बात पर डिटेल में क्या कहना है?
So it starts with now 4 organizations got hold of this affidavit and published a story early this morning. We've also obviously received a copy of the affidavit after that, but this was originally broken by Scroll, The Wire, Caravan, and Leaflet. Now the thing is, they all, when they received this, they sent a request for clarification from the CJI's office, and they received a response from the Secretary General of the Court of the Supreme Court yesterday on the CJI's behalf, in which it says he's that these allegations are seem motivated, they're denied, they're baseless. There is no question of this person being unfairly dismissed. She's been dismissed for disciplinary reasons and so on. Then today there was within 15-20 minutes this court had suddenly called itself to order. There was a 3-judge bench of the CJI along with Justices Sanjeev Khanna and Justice Arun Mishra was set up to sort of conduct an urgent hearing, and in their notice which was released to the public, it said that this was dealing with an important issue about the independence of the judiciary, and so had been brought at the request of the Solicitor General of India. So at this hearing, which is an extremely irregular process, the CJI made a number of attempts to sort of, I think, deal with the problem and sort of justify his own conduct, justify what happened. So we have details of that here again in our copy. So the special bench, when it sat, CJI Gogoi pointed out that look, all my employees I've treated fairly and decently. This employee was there for a month and a half. And the allegations came and didn't deem it appropriate to reply to the allegations earlier. But then he goes on to say that look, all of this is part of a bigger plot, and he uses the exact terms, a bigger plot to deactivate the office of the CJI. And he says that there's this bigger conspiracy here, that it's going after judges like him because they first tried to go after him, trying to claim that he'd made lots of money, but actually only has 6.8 lakhs in his account, and this is just an attempt to smear him. Now he's also then tried to point out that the complainant has FIRs against, has criminal cases against her husband, has criminal cases against them. She should never have even been given an opportunity to work in the Supreme Court with that sort of background, and yet she had been. Which is interesting to see because this case, the original case against her, which relates to some sort of a neighbor dispute, that was from back in 2016, which was before she worked for him. He would surely have known when he was the person who kept asking her to come in and take further responsibility. Now the thing is, the Chief Justice went on this whole thing of pointing out what he claimed to be her and her husband's criminal background, and then after that, they also pointed out that he claims there's some broader conspiracy. Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General of India, also claimed that he felt that this was a case of blackmail. The Attorney General of India, K.K. Venugopal, gets up and says that this was bad reporting because under the Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace Act, you can't disclose the names of anyone, not just the complainant but also the person accused. Which again, however, has been contested by Senior Advocate Vrindra Grover, who is at this point it seems speaking to the complainant. Now it seems this is a deliberate misinterpretation of the provision because actually, when it comes to especially people who have power like this, like the CJI, that should not be the case. So we have here an exclusive set of comments from Vrindra Grover on this point, so our readers can go on for that to understand why this was an issue. So essentially what we've got the CJI trying to say is that all of this is an attempt to discredit him. This is an attempt to undermine the independence of the judiciary. There was a comment about how the reputation of a judge and of these lawyers at the courts is all that they have, and this is when something this happens, it's a direct attack on that, and how can that continue? But the CJI has denied the allegations, therefore, and said that what's happened here is a motivated thing. He's saying that this isn't even just something which has been done by the complainant on her own, that there is some broader conspiracy at play here.
Broader conspiracy at play here. Chief Justice of India रंजन गोगोई का काफ़ी एक बड़ा स्टेटमेंट आया है कि ये एक बड़ी कंस्पिरेसी, एक बड़ी साजिश के तहत उन पर ये इल्ज़ाम लगाए जा रहे हैं, और 22 जजेस को अगर उन महिला ने एफिडेविट दिए हैं तो इसके साथ थी, जो स्टेटमेंट रंजन गोगोई का आया है वो भी उसी तरह का देखने लायक है और एनालाइज करने लायक है। कौन सच बोल रहा है या नहीं इस बात पर अभी कमेंट नहीं किया जा सकता है, पर महिला के जो इल्ज़ाम हैं वो काफ़ी आर्टिकुलेट हैं, काफ़ी डिटेल्ड हैं। रंजन गोगोई का भी जो एक स्टेटमेंट है वो काफ़ी कुछ कह जाता है, पर इसके आगे क्या, अब वो महिला और रंजन गोगोई के लिए आगे क्या कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन रहेगा। शुरुआती अगर बात करें तो रंजन गोगोई से। रंजन गोगोई चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया हैं, इतना बड़ा इल्ज़ाम लगा हुआ है, सारी हेडलाइंस बनी हुई हैं, अभी तक इस बात का पॉलिटिसाइजेशन हुआ नहीं है, तो रंजन गोगोई के लिए लीगली क्या कोर्स वो इस बारे में ले सकते हैं?
तो इस मैटर में एक चीज़ है कि जो एफिडेविट है, जो स्टेटमेंट है कंप्लेंट की, ये बस ये बहुत डिटेल्ड है जैसे आपने बोला, और इसके लिए इसके साथ बहुत एविडेंस भी है। उन्होंने बहुत सारे एनेक्स्चर्स डाले हैं पूरे कंप्लेंट्स के साथ, सब चीज़ के साथ, जो भी हुआ है। एक रिकॉर्डिंग भी है जब वो एक पुलिस ऑफिसर से बात कर रहे हैं, जहाँ पे वो बोल रहे हैं, जहाँ पे वो भी कुछ बात कर रहे हैं ऐसे कि एक्चुअली यहाँ पे CJ गोगोई ने कुछ अपने आप को बचाने के लिए ये किया, उस टाइप का कॉन्वर्सेशन चल रहा है पुलिस ऑफिसर के साथ। तो ऐसे चीज़ों में अब क्या होता है कि यहाँ पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट का एक ICC है, एक तो मैटर का वो भी है कि कंप्लेंट को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट के लिए जो कमेटी है उसको देखना पड़ेगा। पर इसमें एक तो प्रॉब्लम है कि जो जजेस है सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ICC में, ये CJ के जूनियर्स हैं, तो अगर CJ के जूनियर्स को ये मैटर को कैसे कर पाएंगे, तो ये इसमें प्रॉब्लम है। तो एफिडेविट में रिक्वेस्ट किया गया कि एक स्पेशल इन्वेस्टिगेशन कमेटी सेटअप हो जाए, इंक्वायरी हो जाए, जो फेयर हो सकता है, जो इंडिपेंडेंट हो सकता है। नाउ द अदर थिंग इज दैट ऑब्वियसली देयर इज the possibility of further investigations being done by the Supreme Court, by even, Parliament could look into this as an impeachment question, but obviously Parliament at this time can no longer sit, so that's a problem. So that an impeachment proceeding would have to wait till after the Lok Sabha elections are over. So right now it's mainly going to be about the internal investigation process in the Supreme Court, unless she also files a police complaint. Now she has filed a complaint with the Delhi Commission for Women complaining harassment over the arrests and the dismissals, not mentioning sexual harassment but mentioning the other points. And now the main question is going to be, what is the Supreme Court going to do? So they've not passed any judicial order today, they've not gagged the media either, but who is going to be on the committee which is going to investigate this complaint? Is it going to be the women judges? Is it going to be retired judges, a retired Chief Justice of India maybe instead? Because otherwise there is a serious risk that as it'll be juniors of the CJI in a sense, people for whom he is a superior, they cannot really investigate that.
Cannot really investigate that. So now this is a very, very shocking news that is that the country has woken up to today on a Saturday morning. The Chief Justice of India has been accused of sexual harassment by one of his former colleagues, a 35-year-old woman, and the allegations do not stop there. The allegations have been mentioned in a detailed affidavit to 22 judges of the Supreme Court. The allegations also include intimidation, victimization, and targeting the woman's family. So how the investigations are going to go, how Ranjan Gogoi is going to take the legal course ahead, that remains to be seen. But for now, we are continuously tracking the story on the Quint's website. Minute by minute updates are available on the Quint's live blog. Every detail is there, so do visit the Quint's website for all the details. And also, we will be getting you more updates on the issue throughout the day. Be with us. Thank you. Namaskar.